Good evening from Super League HQ. Fifey here, as always, and I am joined tonight by one of the few men on this planet who makes Ali McCoist look like a second-rate co-commentator. Good evening, Hulsbach Jens. How are you?
Good evening, mates. I'm fine. How are you?
I am very, very well. Thank you for joining me, my first co-commentator of the season. We were talking off-air about Christmas and such like, so everyone's obviously aware of your situation you found yourself in, but New Year's looking promising, you were saying.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Tomorrow we're going to catch up on the lost family time from Christmas, so it's going to be nice. Hopefully with the 3 points in the bag from tonight's game as well.
Absolutely, absolutely. And before we kick off the action, obviously we're only 2 games in, but an undefeated start for yourselves. You must be quite happy with that.
Yeah, it's been decent, set up to be solid, and we have been. So a decent start, but knowing my side well enough from the last 3 seasons, a loss is on its way, and it's probably going to come tonight.
Oh, you've certainly gone to my school of pessimism there, that's for sure.
No, I'll tell you what, I guessed a draw on Swan's, Super League tips. I guessed the draw against Gazelles, and I got that right, and I guessed the win against Foolchester, and tonight I tipped Dragons to beat us 2-0.
Well, we will be waiting till the very end, of course, with you being on co-coms to find out how that one plays out. I do believe, if I remember rightly, Greavesy has to go on early this game week because he has personal matters to attend to. So if it's all right with you, we'll start with bottom of the league Loco at home to just doing almost equally as badly Sloths.
Yeah, there's no problem. I just hope, if Loco loses this game, I'm not sure I would want to be his wife with his plans regarding and all.
Well, last time out, they did suffer the 2-1 defeat to Burn. It was the entertaining start to the game where all the goals happened in the first 23 minutes and then not much else. And in fairness to Loco, although they are bottom and pointless as it stands at the moment, they have faced 2 of the title favourites in the first 2 games. So it's perhaps not entirely surprising they are where they are. Would you agree?
Yeah, no, I think they faced the 2 teams I tipped as first and second. So they faced maybe the 2 best sides in the league. I have to be honest, I don't really like his transfer dealings. I don't think his squad looks better now than it did last season or the season before that. But Greaves has a way of shutting us all up anyway. So
he does have that as a telling habit. He's tweaked it tactically, as you can see on the screen here. He's gone 2 up top with Cassano joining Montella, Brujinkin behind, Zambrotta and Figo supplying the width, and he's certainly changed his usual tact, if you like, by having very few defensive players.
Yeah, it's the most attacking Loco we've ever seen, I think.
Yeah,
I think so. So it's going to be interesting. I think I had 2-2 in the tips in this match.
You just can't, until you see the teams, you just can't predict. It's very hard to predict the results when, Loco are going to throw in a tactic like this, isn't it?
Yeah, but I saw his tactics before I send the tips in, to be honest. I would never tip Loco to play 2-2 without, seeing that they went extraordinary attacking.
As we say, Sloths only with 1 point thus far. That was the draw with Asta in the opening game where, if I remember rightly, this one where Asta had all 27 goals disallowed throughout the 90 minutes. And then last time out, they lost to Ledisford in injury time, which led to a very angry reaction by Rob, understandably. It was the only game in the whole game week that had anything happen in injury time, and it was the last one of the night. When you see this team, what do you make of it? He's certainly gone more attacking to what he did last time out, because Ndai's been pushed forward. The two attack, Raul and where Kavanaghi is now, it wasn't him last time out, but they were playing as attacking midfielders. They've been pushed up as well, so he's certainly going for it for this game.
Yeah, I have honestly, I just love this. I love Spartak Slot. He's a character. Sometimes a cunt, but I mean that's only if he's raving against yourself. I think Slots is always a team of extremes. Some shite players and some very, very good ones. And that midfield three is, I mean, you don't want to face them, do you? They're going to chop you down, all three of them.
It's going to be a battle, isn't it?
Yeah, it looks that way. I really do hope Slots have a good season. We need Rob to be involved.
Well, while we wait for the first predictions through the chat, if I can ask you the opening result of the night, please, Jens?
Yeah, I'm sticking with my Desmond.
Okay. Given that we didn't get one at all last game round, I can't remember who it was, but someone did message me, I think yesterday, and say every game was going to finish 2-2 this time. Because
it's probably Mike Savage again, isn't
it? Scott's saying he'd fight all three of them at the same time. Ryan's gone 0-0, Tato's gone 2-0, Steve's gone 0-0, Dan Megahorse has gone 2-0. So fairly consistent predictions throughout, one way or the other. We've kicked the first game of the night off. Plenty of Loco commentary early doors. Rob's come in with a 4-0 Loco, and he may not be far off as Montella gives the home side the lead. Desai picks up an early yellow card, and there was a second yellow card as well. A lot of time flew by then, with not much happening as we approach half-time already. And Sloths have equalised through Raul on half-time. And there we have the first half. Considering both sides have gone more attacking in their formations, Jens, seeing that there's been 3 shots and only 2 on target between the sides possibly isn't what we were looking for.
No, but it's that Slots midfield three again, isn't it? And I mean, they're playing against Loco, even though it's only Petit in that defensive midfield. He's got some magical touch where he just shithouses you out of the game, doesn't he?
He does,
so
indeed.
For me, it's not a big surprise, but I think there's more goals in this.
I definitely agree. I think we'll see more goals in the second half. I think Ryan sums it up perfectly in the chat with just Christ. So we'll have a look at the Loco stats first. And to be fair, the likes of Zambrotta, you mentioned Petit there, they're the higher rated players in terms of their average rating there, and they're certainly the ones putting in the performance. But there's a few sevens about, Montella, Brujink as well, Seedorf, who's always a questionable one. Figo is the interesting one. He never seems to have performed. I can't think of a time he's really excelled as a Super League player. He's been given another chance at Loco here, but not his finest performance.
He's a Super League winner with Bolton Phoenix, isn't he?
Yeah, but there are plenty of players who are Super League winners with Bolton Phoenix who don't necessarily get associated with that Bolton Phoenix team.
No, that's true, but it still can go to show that average rating is not always everything. I do think though that Boston team is really reliant on Montella getting the goals. I don't think he's got. I mean, Casano is not top class. That's probably the reason why he's now signing an outside of the league attacker to try and lift the weight a little bit off Montella's shoulders.
Ryan may not have mentioned this for a while, but he's just pointed out in the chat 2-time Super League winner.
Someone mute Ryan in the comments. That would be nice.
You mentioned Casano there. He's actually been brought off at half-time for Skulls with Brujing being put up front. Do you agree with that substitute?
Yeah. Why not?
Why not, indeed. Having a quick look at the away side. We have seen Rob. I remember he put in the 4-0 prediction. The players who we said it was going to be a battle, and seeing Desai and Ndai there with the yellow cards, perhaps not too much of a surprise. they're not the team as a whole aren't really attempting that many passes by comparison to their opposition. Is one thing that's automatically noticeable. But Desai certainly putting in a performance there, and Super League favourite Matt Holland as well with his 8.
Yeah, on the right wing back. It would never occur to me that he could play that, but Rob's got him going well. It's obvious Boston has got more of the ball, trying more passes, and the eye on the 6 is a different one, possibly because he plays as a central midfielder instead of a defensive midfielder. But I think Rob will be happy with that first half. After all, there's everything to play for here.
The moment Sloths fans worldwide have been waiting for, the big £6 million signing, Zlatan Ibrahimovic coming on for his debut, coming on for Kavanaghi. Do you agree?
Swedish bastard.
Well, let's see which substitute has the biggest impact on this game as we kick off the second half. And Raul from distance has turned this game completely around. One just before half-time, one just after. But there's Figo with his first ever goal for Loco, making it 2-2. As you predicted, claims for penalty turned down. It's all starting to go off in this game now. And here come Loco again. And it's turned into an end-to-end game by these sides. We will slow
great second half.
Very entertaining second half as we move 15 minutes plus injury time to play. Here comes Sloths again. It's Ibrahimovic. Barthez with a save. Petit picks it up and now Zambrotta on the counter, but no. Moving towards the final 10 minutes. And here, there's an offside there, unfortunately, for Sloths, but here they come again. And now Loco on the counter. Do you think at this point we will get a winner?
No. I guess 2-2, so it's gonna
stay 2-2.
Yeah.
That's the second or third time I've seen Montoris' name being linked with an offside. Here comes Ibrahimovic again. Barthez with another good save and a corner. Ibrahimovic has scored. It's 3-2 on his debut. Can Loco get another equaliser, or Sloths wrap this one up? 2 minutes are going to be added on. We're moving into those now. Nothing happened in injury time. They even gave Loco an extra 2 minutes again. And there is full time.
Poor Mrs. Greaves.
Poor Mrs. Greaves indeed. The first game ends 3-2 and debut winner by substitute Ibrahimovic. Wow. Loco didn't really have... Well, they had one additional attempt on goal. Sloths much improved second half, a load more attempts. So deserved winner, really, looking at those stats.
Yeah, very much. Local fans are now calling out Greasy, so it's going to be interesting to see if he has some answers for them on Twitter tomorrow.
Well, I mean, I'm just reading as you're saying that, I'm just reading the I'm just reading the comments in the live chat as well. When you consider that, Loco are former champions and they were beaten finalists last time out, I know it's only 3 games, but still pointless. Is the pressure already ramping up?
Yeah, definitely. As I said, I didn't like his transfer dealings, and maybe this time I'm right. Let's see if he can turn this around.
As for Sloths, it was a very good performance. I think there'll be some concerns about the way they conceded the 2 goals, perhaps, but that they've won against a very difficult opposition. Raul scoring 2, as we said, a debut goal from the substitute. I think Rob will be very happy.
I don't think he's going to care about those 2 conceded at all. I think he's going to be an absolute menace on Twitter the next week.
It could be very entertaining, couldn't it?
I think so. Greaves' amount of toes is probably going to be mentioned a lot of times.
I'm just checking. Yes, that's a great spot by Mr. Campbell in the chat as well. And Dye rating his first ever 6, I think, in the Super League.
Yeah, even at Hools he didn't get a 6 rating, I think. So that's a new one.
But he was playing a lot further forward than most people ever play him. I'm sure, as I think Tato said there, if you move him back 10 yards, that 6 very quickly turns back into a 9, doesn't it?
Probably.
Let's move on, and the game engine has given us Gazelles versus Foolchester as game number 2. An exciting looking match in prospect. Both managers have tweaked it tactically for this one. So let's start with Gazelles, who find themselves, much like yourselves, unbeaten from the first 2 games, a win and a draw. Having drew with yourselves on opening day, they then went and beat Dudley Hill last time out 3-2, despite having 10 men. An interesting, that the stats would suggest, although they were very effective in front of goal, Dudley was slightly unlucky. But interestingly for me in this one, the tweaking formation, Madeira, who scored a couple last time against Dudley, has actually moved back to AM as part of a 3.
Yeah, I think this is one of the matches I was looking forward to. I think it's pretty much done the same thing as I did against Foolchester last time out, because I think he probably looked at that Foolchester team and that management team, and he thought, you know what, we need to kick their midfield and we need to overcrowd their defensive midfield and not let Nicky Butt dominate. So they put 3 players in attacking midfield to overcrowd them, and he's probably hoping Celias and Smertin is gonna, kick them out of the game. Because I do think Foolchester is definitely one of the best teams and will definitely be up there. So I think if you want to beat them, you have to tweak it a little bit.
And although the base formation for a lot of teams is still 2-7-1, I feel I'm starting to see a bit more variation between teams in terms of how they're doing it. I mean, this reminds me very similar of what my Devils team did a couple of seasons ago for a while, particularly with the 3 behind the 1. We don't see that so often anymore.
Yeah, and as special credit, there's we have some managers in the league that's playing a lot of almost crazy, not crazy tactics, but tactics most managers wouldn't play, and it's a special credit to Duggan as well, because I think he switches it up a lot, and it seems to work.
Let's have a look at what Foolchester, because they have also mixed it up. It does. They've filled it more in the attacking positions as well. They've moved one of the defensive midfielders forward into centre midfield, given Veron a partner. And then they've stuck with Nedved and Ronaldo behind Owen, Trezeguet on the bench. John Curtis is the interesting one. I remember I think it was the auction, Maka said to everyone that was on that he was going to feature a lot more this season. Do you see him and Yepes being a solid defensive partnership for the most part of the season?
Yes, anyone Maka chooses to use at centre back, I think is going to come good. I think it's an interesting formation though. Like Steve said, it's pretty ball steep, very attacking for a away game as well. So it's going to be interesting to see.
It certainly will be. Ryan saying in the chat there, Ballon d'Or front trio, Nedved, Ronaldo, and Owen. What is your prediction for this one, please, sir?
I think this is a very, very difficult one to call. I had a 1-0 Foolchester win in the tips, but I didn't see Foolchester's tactic before that. So I think this could go either way. So I would refrain from betting on it.
Refrain from betting. No worries at all. Well, while we wait for the first predictions to come through in the chat, let's kick game number 2 of the night off and see what happens. Absolutely nothing for the first 10 minutes, but it's Foolchester on the attack, seeing Michael Owen's name. But he was unable to convert. And still mostly Foolchester in terms of the text. As we approach half hour, Gazelles now starting to make their mark, but Foolchester take the lead through Ronaldo. That's the first 3 predictions now tick through, all saying 0-0. But Ronaldo has given the away side the lead, and can they double it before half time, or can the home side level? It certainly looks like Foolchester are looking to double it. And just waiting for Mr. Hazic to blow the whistle. There it is. It's flown by very quickly. But Foolchester do have a 1-0 lead. Both sides creating chances, but where Gazelles were ruthlessly efficient against Dudley, they've been very, very wasteful in this first half.
And let's be honest, Foolchester had twice the amount of shots on goal as Gazelles away from home, so they've played a very, very, very good first half.
Absolutely.
Pretty sure Duggan's going to make a substitution here.
Well, Duggan, where we always say that Ian at Burn is one who virtually never makes a sub, Duggan is almost a guaranteed sub at half-time. Although, interestingly, for him, he has no yellow cards, which is normally the first thing he looks at in terms of his stats. Looking at the ratings here for the players, he said it was a big job for Smertin, so he's possibly would have hoped for a bit more from him. Day, usually one of his most effective weapons, hasn't been as effective so far this evening. If you're looking, sorry,
he can't switch tactics, can he? So Smertin's going to stay on. If I was a betting man, I would say he would pull Bastürk off, maybe put Guilherme on.
Oh yeah, well there you go. You answered the question in advance of asking it. The other interesting one there, I mentioned Day is obviously Volodenkov as well. So they're clearly having some issues out wide.
Yeah, I think his team is set up attacking wise to get crosses in for Vieri. And if those two wingbacks can't produce, then I think it's going to be hard for him to score a lot of goals. So it's going to be disappointed with that.
Well, you mentioned Smertin and his position within the team. So the substitution that's been sent is Wellens coming on for Zayaleas and then swapping with Smertin. So he's actually gone back to defensive midfield position, and Wellens is being given the job against Veron in midfield now.
Yeah, can do that. A little bit surprised he keeps Bastürk on, but now he's probably going to score. So let's see.
And let's have a look at the away side. I'm not sure if you were one. In fact, no, I'm pretty confident you were one of the ones that have commented. Did you see the very entertaining video that got put out a couple of hours ago from Foolchester HQ?
Yeah, that was absolutely brilliant.
Nice absolutely bit of different content there from the boys. Well done to Ryan and to Macca there. Looking at the players on the pitch, as you said, that they've created double the amount of chances and obviously had the lead. But when you look at the likes of Nedved, Owen, Giggs, you might expect these players to be definitely attempting more passes, particularly Nedved and Giggs. Sorry, you were going to jump in.
You would, but if I were Macca or if I were in charge of Foolchester, I would look at this as we've been the far better side in the first half, and a lot of my attacking players haven't really gotten in the game yet, so it's hopefully more to come. So he's probably going to stay as is.
He has gone as is. The comments just come through from Macca, so no changes there. Let's kick off the second half and see what these two fancied sides can serve up for us. Certainly a quicker start from Gazelles this half than it was in the first half, but here come Foolchester. A fine save there. Foolchester still creating more chances. They've weathered the early storm in the second half and now probably look more likely. As we move towards 50 minutes ago, we'll just slow the commentary down a little bit. And it's Michael Owen, but another good save from the Gazelles goalkeeper.
Looks solid, Foolchester here.
They do.
Typical Macca performance.
And there is an injury for Ronaldo, which will be something of a concern, I would suggest. Do you think he will go Trezeguet to keep the attacking threat, or do you think he'll move Veron forward and put possibly Prutton on to try and solidify it?
I think he will move Rui Costa forward and put Prutton on.
Okay. Ryan saying up the C-suite and Macca's backing Owen to score.
Yeah, I am as well, to be honest. And maybe not today, but I think Owen he's never done it in the Super League and everything, but a tad underrated. I think if he plays every game as a single striker, he's going to get you 15 goals in the Super League. He got them 9 last season and didn't start. He started 19 games, though. Yeah, I don't think it's as bad as people say.
Okay, so you were half right. Rui is going in the hole, but it's Bishkan that's coming on, not Prutton.
Yeah, Biscan is going to do a job as well.
We are inside the final 10 minutes with that substitute, so let's see how Ronaldo's absence affects things. Wellens and Smertin playing it between themselves, but Tomadira, they had a second bite at it, and now Dede, but Owen picks it up, coming forward himself. It's a yellow card there for Smertin. Now on the other side, Beckham's going at it. 3 minutes being added on. You do still feel, while it stays like this, that if Gazelles get that one good chance...
Yeah, it's still possible.
Vieri, Madeira. Here comes Foolchester again. Costa must score, but he hasn't. And in injury time, Tomadira has picked up an injury. I mean, it's going to be like that. I'll just wait for Duggan to confirm. Just checking the comments. Yeah, there we go. Nice and quick. Thank you, pal. Mac is saying Owen deserves a goal. We move into injury time. Still 1-0 to the away side. Bashtuk gets a yellow card. Giggs with a free kick, but off the wall. Nicky Butt doing what Nicky Butt does. One last chance, maybe now for the home side. And Dede. Header at goal. Buffon, Vieri. Oof. Buffon with another good save. And it's ended 1-0 to Foolchester.
And it's full score for me on the Swan tips.
Are you looking for a big points week this week, are you?
It seems that way. That was a look. I mean, I gave credit to Duggan before the game for changing it up, and it usually works. Today, obviously, it didn't. Foolchester were far dominant.
Well, I think that the thing is, as we alluded to, I think Duggan set it up for what Foolchester would traditionally play, but he wouldn't be in the knowledge when he does that Foolchester are going to change it. So it perhaps worked against him changing it like that. But again, unlucky to Gazelles. It wasn't an awful performance by their standards, and we'll look at their individual ratings in a minute. But look at the chances created by Foolchester from an away side against a very good team at home. That's a very, very impressive away performance, isn't it?
Yeah, it is definitely. And if you can get Michael Owen to start firing then and keep creating those chances, then it's going to be dangerous, knowing Foolchester's defensive solidity as well.
Absolutely. As we click over to the individual player ratings, no surprise there to see that the Gazelles goalkeeper has picked up man of the match for what even in the text you could pick up, it was a string of fine and fantastic saves.
Yeah, 11 shots on target, only one conceded. That tells you what you need to know, doesn't it?
Still only 22, so much room to develop him individually, but a very good performance, as we say. Looking through, Bashtuk only rating of 5 isn't a great opening performance from him for the campaign. We'll obviously wait news on Tomadira, but I know there's a few people who are actively keeping an eye on these things now. So to see him on 29 is not going to fill Duggan with much hope of a 3-day injury. That's for sure.
No, but I don't know how long Collins was out for, but if Tomadera is out and Collins is out as well, then they lack a little bit of firepower if Rieri doesn't start. The big shagger doesn't start scoring goals. But interesting to see that the wing backs we talked about in halftime with 6s actually played themselves up to 8.
Absolutely, and I'm also the stat that caught my eye there was Udaizi's tackling stats: 14 attempted, and his centre back partner, obviously Rio, making 13. But look at the difference in tackles won between the two of them. Udaizi winning 10 of 14, Rio winning 5 of 13.
5 of 13 is nowhere near good enough for a centre back.
It's not good enough at all. Let's have a look at the victorious Foolchester side. Nicky Butt, unsurprisingly, getting his 9. That seems to have become a feature of his play. No one rating below a 7, including Bishkan, who only came on in the 82nd minute. It's very rare that people who get such short time get anything above a 6. It was a virtual perfect away performance, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's fantastic. I mean, they dominated the match and they should have won by more. Nicky Butt is a class player in this game, but in this save, what Mac has done to him is incredible. He's been fantastic all the way out. Yeah, one of the best players in the league for sure.
Oh, without question. And again, we were picking up on stats, and I can see that Tato and Ryan have already got in there before I've mentioned it. But look at his tackling stats there: 20 tackles, 15 won, 4 of them key.
Yeah, so it's amazing.
Unbelievable.
It's Jens Jeremy's Haggis stats.
Well, congratulations again to Foolchester on their victory tonight. Speaking of Jens Jeremy's, Haggis are next up as they entertain Northern Burn. Haggis, who find themselves 6, 1 win and 1 defeat, scored 4, conceded 4. We expecting a certain level of consistency from Ian's side as the season wears on?
I'm not really. No. They've been pretty inconsistent all over the last 3 seasons. Obviously, it's not now got the advice of the legend that is Mr. Alfred, and that's certainly helped him a lot last week. Looks like he's playing the same team. Possibly Bruno in.
Yeah, so it's the same tactic. The only change is Bruno coming into the attacking midfield is the only swap for this game.
Yeah, and I do think, I mean, there's been a lot of talk about that Vieira deal, and it's going to be a lot of talk about that on every show probably the whole season. I didn't like it personally, but I have a bit of understanding why I did it, even though I would suggest if you want to transfer Paddy Vieira, you would want someone who can win you games back.
Yeah.
But even so, Walter Samuel and Jeremies are. I mean, Jeremies is not Vieira, but he can do a very good job in that role. And Samuel is obviously a class centre half. So I think he's looking at his team. There's no reason why he shouldn't be around that top 6 when the season ends if he can keep some kind of consistency.
I agree, and I was just clicking on Helguera there, who obviously had a very good season for the most part last year, and Jeremies, who as you mentioned, they're perfectly capable Super League players. So although Vieira, when you take Vieira out of the side, it is a big loss. I think there is adequate cover as combinations there to do a job, and the slight change to the tactics might suit Haggis a little bit more.
Yeah, I think this tactic looks way more correct to me than the one he played game week 1 when he played 2 strikers behind another striker. And Helguera it's not a favorite of mine at all in the game, but in this save, it's been very, very good. So there's no reason why he shouldn't play him either. So I think he's made the right call in the team.
As for Burn, they make a couple of enforced changes with Jorgatos coming in at left wing back and Henrik Larsson coming in as well. And they also have their new signing that was announced on the bench.
Yeah, I didn't see that I signed him, but I was expecting someone to sign him sometime. So it's nice to see. I was actually I had trouble sleeping last night or the night before, and I was, thinking about Super League, and my mind
just to help you get back to sleep again.
Yeah, and my mind went on to Northern Burn, and I mean, I had them top of the league, and I was trying to, is there a way? Are they so good that people say? And then I started thinking. I mean, going through every part of their team: goalkeeper, top class; centre backs, top class; Wingbacks, top class. Midfield, absolutely top class. Attacking midfield, Robin, Totti, and now Larsson is on, not bad either. And then Tsigalko up top. So they've got a team of Galacticos, and Ian has got them working really good. So they have to be big favorites for the title win this season as well, in my opinion.
I think most people would tend to agree. I think it's been proven by the fact that only one person, who I'm sure will make themselves known, has ever actually managed to retain it. It is very difficult to do, but I would agree that if anyone was going to mimic that achievement, Northern Burn would probably be the side to do it.
And I never ever heard in the Super League show or read about it in the Super League comment section or anything that someone has won it 2 times. Who might that be?
Well, I know he's a very modest man, and he doesn't like to parade his achievements throughout every possible opportunity. So we'll leave it up to him if he wants to announce himself or not. Do you have a score prediction for this one, please, sir?
I predicted 1-1 in the Swan thing because I do think Northern Burn can happily live with a draw here, and I think Haggis is on the up after last week. So yeah, a draw.
Okay, a draw. Let's. Good evening, Alf, who's just come into the comments there. You've only missed a couple of games so far, mate, but welcome along as we kick off Haggis Hunters versus Northern Burn. Burn with an early chance, it was there, but unable to convert. And now Haggis very much seemingly in the text, especially, are they creating enough chances from it, though? I'm seeing Sahan Shevchenko's name, so the suggestion would be yes. Stan picking up a yellow card. And another yellow card, this time for Helguera. And there was another yellow card dished out there. I missed who that one was for. But and Northern Burn through Iron Robin on 41 minutes. Take the lead. Shevchenko with a chance for an early reply, though. Robin with a chance for a second. But we get to half time, and it is 1-0 to Northern Burn, who have created substantially more attempts on goal. I might be a little frustrated that it's only 1-0.
Yeah, it's what we all feared it could look like, isn't it? That's extremely strong Northern Burn side, just brushing away their opponents. But it's still 1, so still a chance for Haggis to get back.
Absolutely, and when you see, we mentioned the fullbacks in the last game. This time round, Duff and Cole are putting in solid shifts in that first half. Because CS obviously making a fair few saves, rating highly as well. Yap stands despite his yellow card, working hard. Jeremy's, as you'd expect, up there in terms of the amount of tackles. I mean, look at Yap Stan. We've been talking about tackles, 10 in that first half and winning 9 of them.
That's very good.
And Ian going straight in with a sub. Stephen Reed coming on for Bruno. So Bruno's return to the first team squad, only lasting 45 minutes.
Stephen Reed is an attacking midfielder.
Well, I mean, technically he is.
He's everything, but I mean, it might be right. If it was me, I would give Fernando Torres a go and put
maybe drop
Shevchenko in attacking. No, okay. Drop Shevchenko back. I would.
Let's have a look.
It's not up to me.
Let's have a look at the Burn stats for what it's worth. Waiting for Ian's as is please Fifey message that he just copy and pastes every week.
You can take that Fifey because I have to go and take a Winkle. That's okay.
Yeah, absolutely no problem at all. So Jens mentioned about the midfield options in particular, and seeing Robin there is 8, Vieira is 7. Seeing who else is there. Roy Keane, though, and Freddie Youngberg, not rating as highly as perhaps Ian would expect, but there is the as-is Fifey message. So we kick off the second half with Northern Burn leading 1-0, Haggis needing to improve to get back in this game. A couple of early chances it looks like there, and they just can't seem to convert at the minute. And that could prove a problem for them, because Burn will get an indirect free kick here as we approach the final 20 minutes. And it's Robin because he has to another save. Sigalko, Larson against his former side, not able to convert either. Here they come again. Header at goal. Casillas with another fine save. And having weathered the Haggis storm, it seems to be very Northern Burn dominated now this second half. Can Haggis create that one key chance to get themselves back in this game? And it's Jeremy's trying to drive forward himself. They get a free kick, and Mendieta strikes a free kick, deflects off the wall. And it's Jeremy's again. Shevchenko. And it is a goal, and it's Mendieta. Mendieta has equalised for Haggis. And as we move towards the final 10 minutes now, do we have a change in the tide? Sigalko hits the upright.
Oh, and it's 1-1.
It is, yes. You literally just missed it by about 30 seconds. Indirect free kick, Mendieta, Cole. Haggis do look like they're now trying to, having come back into this, now looking to try and win it, but hit. Oh, Sigalko's offside. 3 minutes are going to be added on. And it's Larson, Ljungberg, Sigalko. No, fails to convert again. And Reed moved fractionally early. Shevchenko, Cannavaro's been booked. It's Stephen Reed. Hoffland with an important interception. Mendieta with free kick. Well, you said it would be a draw, Jens, and a draw is what we've got.
And I had 1-1 as well.
Yeah, in the predictions again.
Mm-hmm.
Incredible. I think you probably already won the game week then, and we're only 3 games in.
A magic Viking.
Maka is asking in the chat, so I think it's the perfect place with which to start the review. Are Haggis actually real now? I mean, statistically, Ian will be frustrated, of course, but that's an impressive point, really, from a Haggis perspective.
As I said before, they brought in a really what do you call it? What's the English word for it? Really, fuck it. They brought in an old assistant that knows what he's doing.
Yeah, and wily old fox.
He's obviously got his magic touch on it now. So if Ian can keep hold of Alf with that team, then I don't see why not. Yeah, they're a team to be reckoned with for sure.
So while you were deliberating there, the English phrasing of what you were trying to say, a lot of people have been asking what were Jens Jeremy's tackles. So they're on the screen now: 16 attempted, 13 complete. Yapstam 18 attempted, 14 complete. Helguera 10 attempted, 6 complete. They've worked hard for that point, haven't they?
Yeah, they have, and it's a hard-working team. And Jeremy's, I think, had 14 average tackles completed up until this game, and it's not much lower now. So, yeah, impressive. And it's a good team. It's been a team of good players all the way. So if Ian just don't go absolutely Scottish batshit
crazy,
if he ever loses a game, then. Yeah, why not? They can be there. And I do think for Northern Burns, for Mr. Edwards, he should probably have won the game based on the stats, but a draw away from home in the Super League is decent enough anyways, and he's got 2 wins out of 2 so far, so I don't think he's going to be too let down by this.
Well, I mean, the age-old saying, regardless of what division you're in, is if you win at home and draw away, you'll be absolutely fine and you'll be successful. Before I tick over to Northern Burn, seeing Shevchenko there getting man of the match, I know neither of them scored, but are we now starting to see a proper partnership being formed between him and Saha?
Yeah, maybe. Saha's stats is unreal in the save. It's usually really good, but Shevchenko is one of those players that I've found to probably be better with a striking partner. There's not many of them, but Shevchenko's lone striker, I'm not sure if that works. Maybe it's just because he's a forward and not a striker. I don't know, but I think it's a good partnership, and he's got Torres in the back as well that can definitely come and prove a point too. So good times for Haggis.
Of course. Looking at Northern Burn, Toldo put in his customary 1-6 every 10 games in for this performance. Larson failing to impress against his former employers. But apart from that, it's not been a terrible performance at all. As you say, Northern Burn slightly unfortunate to only get a draw away from home.
Yeah, let's not kid ourselves. If it was any other team in the Super League right now, then we would say, look, they dominated the match away to informed Haggis and should have won. So this is a team to look out for. So even though Northern Burn is the team of great players and former champions or reigning champions, then this is still a good point considering.
And I could see Ian suggesting that Contra has been robbed of his Man of the Match award there. When you see his stats on the screen there, Jens, you agree that he was at least a contender for the award?
Yeah, definitely. Who was the man? It was Shevchenko. Yeah,
Shevchenko,
yeah. Contra played a good game. Yeah, definitely.
Well,
with a 9 and Shevchenko with an 8 as well.
Yeah, it's funny when those ones come up that even when the game rates a player higher, it still doesn't give him Man of the Match. We move on to the next game, Astor hosting Churchtown. And here is Churchtown's week 3 team. The most noticeable return is Tamazi back from his, I believe he was suspended for the last game. So
yeah, was sent off in game 1.
That's right. He significantly improves the defensive midfield, doesn't he?
Yeah, I think what he's done is he's try to change it up. He's lost Zanetti, but he wants to play with wingers, and he brought in Palermo from me. I think if you play with wingers and you can get the crosses in, then Palermo can score a lot of goals. And I think it's dying for him to get on the score sheet, because I think if he wants to be serious about contending this season, then he has to get him on the score sheet.
And I mentioned in the last game where they beat Dragons, Petrov obviously scoring the winner early doors, but I was interested in his position in a more attacking midfield. Clearly, or I would suggest some use of perhaps the scout tool or whatever it is people have been using to see variety of positions people can play in, because not a lot of people would necessarily think of putting him there.
Well, would you mind clicking on this, or is that not allowed?
No, you know me, I'll click on anybody.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's got pace, technique, off the ball, decent passing, dribbling. So yeah, some of the stats are okay for him to play there. I think it's possibly more a lack of proper quality in that position, to be honest. I do think his back 4 looks really solid. I love Håkan Mill. I think he's really good. Tomasi obviously is quality. Those center backs with Terry in season 4 should be really good as well. So I think, and he plays with wingers, and if Palermo can get scoring, if he can get those balls into him, and he can get 12, 15 goals this season, then why not? Then they can actually do something really good.
Let's move on. And you were mentioning people who deserve an element of respect and applause for slightly altered tactics. It's a slight tweak for Tato for the one he played in the last match. More in terms of the arrows from the DMs, you'll notice there. But again, this is another manager who's gone with the 3 up front, and he's tweaking it game by game, looking at the opponents to try and get the best out of what he's got.
Yeah, Tato's been a fresh blow of air in this league since he's come in with that asymmetric tactic first, and now this 3 up top. Let's be fair, he took over a pretty weak squad in terms of quality. Mm-hmm. And I still think he's got probably the weakest squad in the league, even though I like some of his transfer dealings. But he's already got 3 points, and you know, he's got 3 players up front who all of them can score plenty of goals, and he's got wingers who can provide. So I really like his team, and I hope he does well this season.
Well, I definitely think you're right about the front three. I mean, Rossini is a player who I think he's had maybe one properly good Super League season in all of the seasons there's been, even before this save. So he is capable. It's just whether someone can get him to reach his potential. Henri was obviously one of the big name signings this window that went through, and everyone knows what he's capable of doing. Although again, perhaps never quite hits the heights in the Super League that he might do in home saves. And then ZZ Roberts came in last year like a train, really, and seemed to be scoring every game.
Yeah, all three players can score goals, and he's got, when he plays that three defensive midfield as well, and Neil Scally is one of them. Then you know who's going to be. I mean, Scally himself is going to at least have 10 tackles every game, so he's going to kick you. So yeah, it's potential there. It's if he was to make top 6 by the end of the season, it would be a remarkable achievement, in my opinion. But I don't think I don't think it will happen. But it's not completely out of reach.
Well, that's exactly what I was going to say to that. Although it would be very difficult, do you think Tato has a squad capable of doing it?
I would say no. I don't think the squad is good enough on paper, but I think Tato's proved himself as a new thinking manager who can get something out of something not really good. So yeah, I think it's a possibility, because I think Tato knows what he's doing.
Well, as we wait for the first predictions to come through in the chat, can I ask you what your score prediction for this one was, please?
I think I had 2-1 Astor.
2-1 to Astor. Let's kick this game off then, while the people in the chat continue to discuss transfers. As Tato first in with a 0-1. Let's see, and a penalty appeal, but not given there. Astor certainly seeming to have started quickest. A couple of 1-1s come through from Alf and Dan as well in the chat now. Churchtown starting to create some chances here, and it's a red card for Vrede. That's a big one.
It's tough.
Do you imagine one of the strikers off for Vashuk?
I would, but then again, Tato is a tactical maniac, so who'd know?
You thinking he might go one at the back at this with best part of an hour to play?
I don't think you do that. Maybe a DMC out, but if it was me, I would probably draw Rossini.
So it is actually one of the centre backs. So Foe is coming off, and no arrows on my DMs. I'm presuming you want them straightening up, Tato. If you can confirm you just want it looking like that, please. Dan Megahorse appreciating your use of the phrase tactical maniac there, Jens.
Did I say that?
Yeah, that's how you describe Tato, yeah.
I'm deep in a 3 liter of wine now, so I'm saying what occurs to me.
Right, Tato's confirmed that's how we are to play on. So let's carry on down to 10 men, but on the attack, looking to take the lead. Half-time came very quickly after that red card. Very even first half, and just a case of perhaps two sides who aren't the most confident, just needing that goal to get them going, perhaps.
Yeah, this can go either way. Bread is I've never. It's probably at least 15 years since I had Brede in my team, but I remember always buying him because he was cheap and he had a lot of good stats, and I didn't know too much about the game. But he always had the tendency to get sent off, and it's nice to see that my nostalgia is right.
Just having a look through their stats, obviously as we know now that they are down to 10 men, but they did play well over half an hour with their full complement. Joey Johnson, the standout player really, winning 5 out of 5 tackles. Neil Scally again, by comparison, 6 attempted, only 1 tackle won. If I remember rightly, you are a big member of the Neil Scally fan club, aren't you, Jens?
Yeah, I am. Yeah, I am. He always delivers the good stuff. It's nice to see that Joey Johnson finally gets some game time. He was at Wolves. I had him in the original draft, and I remember there were a lot of people asking about him because I think he was really good in that last alteration.
Mm-hmm.
And I tested a lot, and he did really well for me. But then I started playing 4-1-3-2, didn't I? And he would never get in front of NDI. So I let him go, and I think now is the first time I really seen him on the pitch. Bostock probably played him a couple of times, but it's nice to see.
We move over to Churchtown as Tato confirms he's happy to go as is for the second half. Oliver Kahn continues to impress between the sticks for Churchtown. It was a big decision to bring him in. I think when Hedman had performed so admirably for Churchtown last season, were you a little bit surprised to see that was one of the areas that Dimble looked to improve in goal?
Yeah, but I mean, Kahn is he's good, isn't he? He's good until he retires. So if you had a cheap chance of getting him in, then I support that choice. I think it's why not. I think the main thing for Dimble is, as I said before the game, is to get Palermo scoring. He needs a striker scoring. Or Santa Cruz, for that sake.
Yeah, while you were discussing Palermo, Dimble did say he was getting frustrated by him already and needing him to do something. He hasn't done anything, so he's been withdrawn at half-time for Santa Cruz. And Petrov, the other man we discussed at kickoff, is also being withdrawn for Stanic. Do you support both of those changes?
Yeah, I mean, either Palermo or Santa Cruz is going to have to score some goals. So if it's giving up on Palermo, then why not? And Stanic is not a top class player, but things happen around him. He's big and strong in the air. So yeah.
Well, now that those subs have been confirmed, let's kick off the second half and see if they do lead to us getting some goals. Churchtown certainly seems to be creating, and it's Van Bommel with his first ever goal for Churchtown gives the away side the lead. I suppose if the strikers aren't scoring, it's important the midfielders do chip in.
A away win for Churchtown would be very, very. He would like that very much because at home they've been on fire, but away they've been absolutely horrible, haven't they?
We've moved into the final 10 minutes, and it's Asta on the attack looking to equalise. Referee reaching into his pocket again, yellow card for Van Bommel. Red and Roberts, and it's an equaliser for Zizi Roberts has scored for 10-man Asta. Again, we have to say there doesn't appear to be any boring Asta Athletic games this season. They're always drama, always excitement, all the way to the very end. And now we have an injury for Agahawa. And well, Mendes de Silva will be the man coming on, but who plays where? In your opinion?
To be Van Bommel, wouldn't it?
Move Van Bommel forward?
It's the only one of them who's got any kind of goal threat in them, in my opinion. But yeah, let's see what he does.
I mean, I suppose Chadwick's the other one, but then you haven't got anyone to play wide, really, either.
Who's Luciano Ernie dos Santos? He should definitely be a Hull supporter.
I don't know, but welcome. Okay, so Dimble's saying swap with Mark Van Bommel and then Mild centre mid. And then Mendes de Silva, swap with Mark Van Bommel and Mild MC. So I believe this is what we're going with. Dimble, if you can just confirm that does look to me what you've asked for. So if you can just confirm. Ryan's also thrown his 2 pence worth in, saying what he would be doing. And just while we wait for that confirmation, it's worth highlighting this comment here, Jens. Ryan saying he loves it when you're on comms. To which Dan Megahorse has confirmed it is a great listen. So thanks again for taking time out of your evening to do this and entertaining the fans and managers alike.
Well, that's very nice to hear. Trying to tell Ryan that he's going to get better wine next time he's coming over to Norway to get beat.
Dimble has confirmed. So we make the sub and the tactical changes. Move into injury time. Will there be any late action? It's Churchtown coming forward. Santa Cruz, Van Bommel, Stanic. But Aston managed to clear their lines, and are they going on the counter themselves? It's Rayed with an awful attempt, and it finishes 1-1. Not a bad game at all, really, Jens, for either side, and a draw probably fair. Perhaps Churchtown edging it slightly.
I think with Astor's pretty early sending off, then I mean they did well. I think a draw is a fair score, and I don't think none of the managers would be buzzing, but I don't think any of the managers would be very disappointed either. So.
No, and as you say, playing for the best part of an hour with 10 men, just starting to look through these stats. We mentioned the tackling stats, a few players. There seems to be the ones that are getting highlighted in this game. Joey Johnson completing 6 of 9. Scally certainly improved in the second half, completing 7 of 12.
Yeah, I think he hit every tackle in the second half, didn't he?
It does look, yes, he did, because he was 1 for 6, wasn't he, in the first half? So much he certainly took responsibility for it in the second half. I think just looking through those, I think Tate will be quite happy, won't he?
Yeah, he'll be disappointed with the sending off and with Thierry Henry, as he says in the comments now. I can see, but I mean, please, Tato, you got a point. It's decent. You're doing well with your team. Please don't go on Twitter another week and complain about the referees. It's boring already. Come on.
And just linking into that, I'm seeing Macca's comment. Can we just point out here that Tato is still working miracles?
Yeah, he's, as I said before the game as well, he's doing a really good job, and his team is entertaining, and it's really nice to see. Yeah.
And I think Ryan has a very valid point that Honsho's been underrated there with his 7. I mean, completed 25 of 30 passes, won 6 of 8 tackles, won 1 out of 2 headers. He's done virtually everything correctly there, hasn't he?
Yeah, he did. It's the same as with Thuram in game week 1 against Gazelles for me as well. I think he had, I don't know what it was, if it was 8 out of 9 tackles or something, and all the other stats, I mean, 2 out of 2 headers, and he got a 6. So sometimes you're just underrated. Live with it.
And I pointed out game week 1 that I was looking forward that there seemed to be signs that there'd be 1 or 2 new names, and big Luke Chadwick getting man of the match for his performance with his rated 9. And for those who are really interested, Aga Hauer, who got that very late injury, has a 0 condition. That looks like it could be a bad one.
Definitely does.
That's not promising from a Churchtown perspective at all. So congrats to both sides on claiming a point. I'm sure there are pros and cons that both managers will take, and I look forward to reading, watching, and listening to the content that comes from both clubs over the next day or two about that. Yeah, I mean, Ryan and Dimble both picking up on that and both put in, and Steve as well now, just putting RIP. Julius is as dead as Caesar, as the comments are coming through.
It's no problem. Who's going to the African Cup of Nations now, anyways?
We still have a couple of games left. We move to Dudley Hill versus the Devils. Dudley currently sit 5th, again with 1 win, 1 defeat. Last time out was that defeat to the Gazelles, where we commented earlier that they were perhaps somewhat unfortunate. So Steve isn't panicking. He's kept the same tactics and just sort of tweaked a few of the personnel around to include on loan signing Diego Placente.
Yeah, and it's good to see that it hasn't panicked, because in my opinion, this Dudley squad is the best they've had in this alteration so far. If you look at the stats, I mean, in the stats in the games, Dudley Hill has probably been the best side over the 2 first games. They dominated against Gazelles, lost, but they had more shots. and they beat. Yeah, okay, but they scored 4 anyways. And I think I mean, and I want to say this: if there's one manager I really want to do well, it's Steve, because we talk a lot, and he's a great guy, and he definitely has a passion for the league and for his game. I do think his team is much stronger now than it has been. Still a couple of positions I'm not convinced by, but I do think if you can keep a stable core in this side and not switch it up too much, then he has a chance of proving a lot of people wrong. I also do like the placenta loan, seeing as Finland is injured, as he was. I mean, that was you always knew that was going to happen. But to keep Kalatse in there is important, I think, for them, and I do think they have a chance of doing very well this season.
Petkovic, a player that you obviously know, starts tonight as well. Talk us through the reasons you were allowing him to leave during the auction.
I played because my wife is Brazilian, and I've been to Brazil a lot of times and watched Brazilian football. I've been playing some Brazilian saves, and obviously Petkovic is there in Flamengo. So I played him a lot, and I've never really got a tick out of him, and I don't really like him. And in Hulls, I've had better strikers and attacking midfielders than him all along, and he was a whiny cunt as well. So it was the right time to let him go.
We move over to the Devils side to confirm who are managed by Hodgie, just in case there was still any confusion, but for anybody as to exactly who was in charge. They took a bit of flack last time out. The result didn't help them, obviously, getting destroyed really 3-0 by Haggis. But they took some flack for particularly the amount of players in the defensive midfield positions. And so this time, Hodgie has reacted by taking one of them out and moving them to AM position. Obviously, Mpenza, as we know, is injured for this one, so Kesman starts up top. Do you think having Makoku next to Amar will help matters for them?
Yeah, I think Steven's tactic this week is much better than the last week in the long run. You can win the game by with 5 defensive midfielders, but you can't in the long run. You can't do it. So I think Steven's done a right good call there. I also do think that this is a good sign of Steven's transfer dealings. And pens out, so he's got a very, very decent replacement in Kesman. He's also got Sorry at left wing back, so he can keep Van Bronckhorst in there together with Emerson. And I think I had the Devils second when I tipped the table before the season after Bern, and I still think they're going to be up there. I think Steven, he knows what he's doing, and he's got the squad. It's got the squad as well. So yeah.
Can I ask you for a score prediction, please, pal?
I do think I had 1-1 in the tip for Swan here, so I'm going to stick with that.
Okay, sticking with 1-1, and there is a lot of appreciation for your We'll call it a language barrier as you're confusing the word Hodgie with Stephen quite a lot in the build up there, and people are appreciating it. But Tato firstly with the prediction saying 2-1 to Dudley, Alf vice versa going 1-3 to Devils. Let's kick off and see who is correct. And it seems Devils creating the early chances there, but it's a penalty, and Frey has been sent off. And what a chance this is for Dudley. Hodgie isn't here, so Jens, who do you suggest? I mean, Amar's the regular one, so yeah. Makoku off.
I think you would do that. I think you bring right on for Makoku.
Cool. Let's confirm
He's Swedish as well, so get him off.
Okay, my Alexa's just randomly started talking to me, even though I haven't asked her anything. Alexa, off.
Swedish bastard is a person born in Sweden, little brother of Norway.
We'll slow it down just for the penalty because we know it'll drive Steve nuts, and then I'll speed it up again. Oh, that's too slow. And it's Zanoni with the chance to score from the spot, and he has scored. It's
Steve buzzing.
Steve realised he'd forgot to put Luca on penalties. But they have scored. They are 1-0 up, and they do have the man advantage as well. And they seem to be all over Devils now. But here that Devils now starting to fight back. And it's Luca Toni who doubles the home side's lead. And what an opportunity this is for Dudley Hill. And Devils just aren't creating anything. I know it's hard when you've been down to 10 men for so long, for the majority of the half, but Dudley Hill taking full advantage of that and have a 2-goal lead, Jens.
Yeah, look, Dudley Hill is, even though it's a sending off, they've been dominant against one of the best sides in the league. They crushed Haggis, and they were unlucky they got half champed by Gazelles. This is a good start from Steve.
Absolutely. Let's have a look at the home sides ratings. You mentioned Kaladze. Again, I'm automatically drawn to the tackle stats after most of the conversation tonight. He's completed 4 of 6. Maldini completing 2 of 2. Rustico completing 4 of 5. Placente on his debut completing 3 of 4 as well, and also a high pass completion. So he's certainly impressing on his first 45 minutes. Do you see any reason Steve would be looking to change it at this stage?
Not really, no. Number one bad rating in the team is probably the best player in the team. So no, I would leave it.
And as we know, Hodgie isn't watching live, so we'll just have a quick click on the stats so he can see them, but there'll be no halftime changes for them. And Steve going as is. So we kick off the second half. Can Dudley maintain, or can... And there's a claims for another penalty, but turned down this time. Yellow card for Dyer. And Devils and Van Bronckhorst doesn't miss, and now can they put the pressure on Dudley? Would this be points thrown away by Dudley if Devils can equalise here? Seeing Zari to Amar and that Ferguson. There's another yellow card and a Devils free kick, and Amar steps up and it's a corner. Seems to be the 10-man away side who are looking more likely to score. And here's Dyer, still Dyer. And he couldn't miss. He doesn't miss either. And it's 2-2. And again, the team with 10 men. We saw it earlier in the night and we're seeing it again here. And surely they're not going to turn it completely around. Oh, there was a good chance for Ferguson. Now Petkovic come forward. Both sides trying to win this. And it's Luca Toni, but it's over the bar. 4 minutes to be added on, which we move into here. And that's Ferguson. Dyer, Amar, Kesman. Still Kesman. And a free kick to the Devils. Amar, Emerson. Oh, they turned it around completely in injury time.
Oh my God.
10-man Devils have scored a third goal, and it's Emerson. And it's a yellow card. And is there time for Dudley to equalise? No, Dudley have thrown the game away completely. Wow.
You know what? This is Steven's Devils saying, yeah, you've impressed so far, but come on, we're gonna be there. We're former champions, and we're gonna be there again.
And in fairness to the Devils, the stats look good for them as well. I mean, they've created 10 shots away from home with 10 men. 9
it's a fantastic performance, isn't it? I don't think Steve did anything wrong either. They looked... I mean, the game was almost won at halftime, but something about that quality in that Devil side that just grinded it out, isn't it?
I mean, Steve is not having the best festive period himself, though, for those that know, and this is not going to be improving his mood at all. Dudley themselves, as you said, had a good start, and it's a fairly good performance, but he's going to be gutted, isn't he, looking at that?
It's harsh, isn't it? Can make fun of it, but that's just harsh. he had the right tactic going into the game. He looked on course to win it, and Devils are just too strong for him.
Yeah, that was the case. Devils were just too strong. Let's have a look at what exactly happened. It was some of the age-old names as well. Kieran Dyer, who's been spoken about last couple of seasons. Van Bronckhorst now with his goal and 9 rating. Emerson, who I know from my time there was much sought after by most of the clubs in the division if there was a deal to be done. It's the old heads standing up and as you said, sort of saying, no, we refuse to go down like that.
Yeah, it's a champions win, isn't it? It's, I mean, you do get to games during the season where you come one man down, or you feel undone by, or you're 1 goal behind or anything. But if you can grind out that to be a win, then you have to be reckoned with. And now, if you excuse me, I'm going to have 30 seconds because I have to go and take a pee again because I drank too much wine. Sorry.
No worries at all. I will click continue. Commiserations again to Dudley Hill, to Steve, and congratulations when you watch this, Hodgie, on the victory. We move on to the penultimate game of the evening, and it is Ledisford at home to Bostock Stanley. And this is Stanley's tactic. Anelka continues to lead the line. It was, if I remember correctly, Scott had been playing front 3, but he's dropped them back and playing a 2 behind a 1. Bowyer, the man charged in midfield. And I'm intrigued by the Welsh and Live defensive midfield partnership, how they are going to smuts. how they're going to combine. Both, as we know, individually stats wise looking very good in this save, so it's nice to see them partner together to see what they can do. And currently sat 11th. Scott won't be. So many teams went into this game week with 1 win, 1 defeat. Scott will not be panicking at this point. I think I read, I may be paraphrasing slightly, but it's a case of just 2 down, 24 to go. He was not too concerned by the defeat last time out at all at Astor. As for Ledisford, who are still without Castillo, another slight tweak. We've got version 3 of the formation as I'm able to welcome Jens back to the studio. What I'm intrigued to ask a player that you'll know a lot about, Jens, Van Nistelrooy playing in the attacking midfield position in this lineup. Something that we saw quite a lot of in season 1 of Swemp, from what I remember. A lot of Van Nistelrooy's playing in the AM positions.
Yeah. He's said already, hasn't he, that he was going to play there sometime, and now's the time, obviously. Look, Dan is he knows all about the editor and all about the game, honestly. So if he thinks he can play there, then why not? I never played in there myself. I probably should have, because 2 up top with Crespo and Van Nistelrooy obviously didn't work. 2 up top, Van Nistelrooy, Tsigalko worked a little bit, but not very much. But I just doesn't sit right with me to play him at attacking midfield, seeing as he was such a poacher in real life. But yeah, I'm intrigued to see what he can do, and I do think if he can work in that position, then that attacking trio is quite something, isn't it?
And with some of the action we've seen tonight, coupled with the drama that was in the Ledisford game, as we spoke about earlier, they had the injury time winner at Sloths. Are we expecting a slightly quieter game against Bostock Stanley? Just a drab affair where not much happens, or are you expecting more fireworks and drama from these 2 sides?
I'm not quite sure what to expect from this game, to be honest. I think that Bostock Stanley has gone from, certainly a top 6 whatever side to either absolute fire or absolute garbage from the transfer dealings they've done, relying a lot on Roberto is out tonight and Cafu and Saviola to hit the ground. Yeah, I'm intrigued by this. I can see it. I think I had 2-1 Ledesford in the Swan tip, so I'm going to stick with that.
2-1 Ledesford. Well, while we wait for the first predictions to come through in the chat, I will kick off the penultimate game of the evening. And it's Ledesford on the attack early, failing to convert 1 or 2 opportunities there. There's various discussion about wine now in the chat.
I'm not sure if I'm going to have wine left tomorrow, to be honest, the way I'm going out.
And it's Carlos Jacques who opens the scoring for the away side. And Van Nistelrooy, the man that you did speak about before the game, has now picked up an injury. Are you expecting straight swap for Nikiforenko? Or we did see a gap play there earlier in the season as well?
I'm expecting Nikiforenko. Van Nistelrooy still hasn't scored, has he? He had decent average ratings and he had some assists for me last season, but he didn't score goals, did he?
No, and he won't be scoring tonight either. And there is confirmation it will be Nikiforenko coming on. Nikiforenko, who one appearance so far, only assists.
And his profile is ridiculous. I mean, if I'm going to get Nikiforenko in the original draft, and I actually played him almost every game, and this is what I mean, there should be bunch of 20s, 18s, 17s all over the place right now. What's going on with him in this alteration?
we 10 minutes flew by without anything happening there. Will we get a goal, a second goal in this game before half time? We're into injury time. Ledesford coming forward, but no time to try and force it over the line. Bostock completely dominant stats wise in that first half. I think, yeah, I'm just seeing there. Dan had actually commented at the time of the sub that it's not started well, this one. And he is correct to have suggested so because, as I say, Bostock creating a lot more. They're in the lead and they haven't lost their talisman. Although, if you then look at the individual ratings, it's not been an awful first half performance by Ledesford.
Goekiok is a monster.
Yes.
Which they almost always are. And they're 1-0 down and they got a lot of firepower. So that game's not lost yet, Dan. It's really, really possible that Ledesford score a goal or 2 here, in my opinion.
I can see Ian is desperately trying to convince Dan to bring Didier Gat on at halftime. Can you see either he or Hargreaves coming on and making any sort of impact, or do you think Dan will keep it as it is?
I think if Agate was to come on, it would be for Extrabarria. And I mean, he didn't have a good first half, but he's a much, much better right winger than Agate. And Hargreaves is shit, in my opinion. So, no, I can't see that.
Dan has kept it as it is. So we'll move over so that Scott gets an opportunity to have a look at his players' ratings. And again, it's all very positive. I mean, Anelka's been a little bit quiet, but sometimes that can happen when they're up front on their own. Everyone's just kind of quietly going about their business, aren't they?
Yeah, and he won't sub Anelka, he knows. Oh, he will sub Anelka. Then let's see if he's going to start a riot in the Bostock camp.
I think it was proven last year, because there's always been this question about Anelka, obviously with his mentality, etc. But Scott gave him a prolonged run. He featured in every game played every game last season, and had no problems at all. So maybe we're going to see a maturing of the.
If you sub Anelka half time, then it's always a chance that it's going to make hell for you, isn't it?
Well, I look forward to reading that in the news after the game then, because it is Anelka coming off at half-time for Saviola. As we kick off the second half of this game, Yellow card dished out there. And Ledesford have equalised, but it's been disallowed. It was Patsazoglu who scored it, but it doesn't count. Cafu. Whoa, the time flew by then. Let's slow it down. With 15 minutes to go.
Enticing one, this.
And it's another one of these where you don't want to leave the seats early because anything could happen with these two sides and Petkov getting involved, but Andre takes the ball and manages.
Two very good sides, this.
Petkov had been offside this time. It just seems to be Patsazoglu keeps firing it straight into Andre's arms and then he just hoofs it forward again. Ian saying a gap would have been onside. Patsazoglu shown a yellow this time. There seems to be a few yellow cards handed out. Ryan wants to see Jacks at full time. No problem at all, sir. 85 minutes on the clock. Still 1-0 to Bostock Stanley. 3 minutes are going to be added on. We're getting into mega horse time here. Oh, Keane puts it over the bar. And here comes Bostock again and Jacques. Still Jacques and Bowyer. Tybee sends it upfield. It's gone out of play. And there is the full-time whistle. Ledesford 0, Bostock Stanley 1. Ledesford created nothing in that second half, Jens.
They didn't. Well played to Scott. That's very, very important and a very, very, very convincing 3 points.
Let's have a look first at the home team then, Jens, and see what happened. Tybee, again, putting a good performance. Ekiog, you mentioned at half-time. Addo's been getting a bit more of a run under Dan as well, but nothing much to write home about at all from anybody else.
No, it isn't. It's the defensive players doing a decent job and the attackers not getting involved enough, not doing enough with the ball either. Ronaldinho's got 39 passes, but nothing has come from it. So yeah, he's gonna be disappointed, and he's gonna have to look at how we can change it up, I think.
Jacques, unsurprisingly, his name was coming up a lot during the text game man of match, but look at that, 3 players ending the game on 9 ratings, Cafu and Bowyer as well. Sorry, excuse me. Just having a look at what else stands out.
Yeah, well, it's his best players, isn't it?
Yes.
It's Roberto in it as well, and it's him, Cafu, and Bowyer that he has to like put his faith to, and then players like Jax and Anelka and the other ones can score goals. So if you can keep Bowyer, Cafu, and Zé Roberto fit for most of the season, then there's no reason why they can't challenge.
Saviola didn't really come on and make a major impact, so you expect Anelka to keep his place for the next game?
I don't know. He signed Saviola, and Saviola season 4 should be really good, but it's a hard one because if you're taking that, I mean, if you're taking Anelka upon you, then you're going to have to play him.
Indeed. Well, congratulations to Scott and to Bostock. Commiserations, Dan, Mr. Savage and Ledesford. I'm sure you are already back on that drawing board. And that brings us to our final game of the night as you visit the Dragons, Jens. Ryan's already pointed out there seems to be a lot of away wins tonight. That would either fill you with confidence or fill you with dread that the game won't allow another away win.
Yeah, I've got no. I mean, I do think I'm gonna end up higher than the Dragons in the table, but if I've learned something from the last 3 seasons as a Hulls manager, it's if I feel that we're onto something, then we're gonna get beat. So I expect us to get beat tonight.
Well, the interest, again, a team making a slight tactical tweak. As you know, they've had a couple of injuries. They're lacking in striker options. Particularly, you'll notice there isn't a striker on the bench. But Morientes and Kluivert partnering each other for the first time. That could, in theory, be a decent partnership, could it not?
Well, definitely. Kluivert is top class, and Morientes can be top class on his day. So, yeah, that's... something to be worried about.
And Zidane.
I also really like their wing back coupling. I think Brett Emerton is a really good DMR, and
Yes,
everyone knows.
I'm very much Team Emerton as well. I think he's a very good right wing back.
They have. Yeah, I agree with you. And so they definitely have quality, and they can on their day beat anyone. So yeah, I'm not confident at all.
And Ian getting in on the Dragons' individual player love as well by saying that he loves Gattuso.
Yeah, I know people. Some like him, some don't. I think his stats are really good, and he can be a really good player. But yeah.
And if I remember correctly, you went unchanged from your win over Foolchester.
Yeah, I did. I think this season, probably the thing that speaks most for me is that I know what's my best 11.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure the 11 players I have on now are my best, and I also have some really decent, in my opinion at least, really decent replacements in a lot of positions. So I'm really happy with my team.
Well, yeah, I mean,
think we're going to do better than we did the last 2 seasons at least.
Absolutely. I mean, just looking at those replacements, obviously Baldini was your out of league signing for this season, and you also recently added Viduka on loan from Dudley. Do you see these two featuring heavily as the season goes on?
Yeah, they're probably going to play. I mean, Crespo's not going to play every game. The center backs are going to get suspended, injured. I also have, I've got Liverani there who can do a good job in midfield. Ricardinho, Kutuzov. I think I got I got a better squad now, more competitive squad now than I've got for the last seasons around. So I'm happy with my squad, and I'm not going to make any crazy predictions, but I do think we're going to make a better. We're going to have a better season this season than we had at least the last 2 seasons.
And just before I go to the game, as it's just popped up on the chat there, your thoughts on Ian's suggestion that for him he would swap Gerrard and Vogel round?
Yeah, Alf predicted that or said that before the last game as well, and then Vogel scored and became match winner. So, no, I've done my testing, and Vogel is a player I've had a lot, and I really like him in that role. So, for the time being, Vogel is going to play there.
Well, good luck to yourself and to Jamie and to General Smuts as we kick off the final game of the evening. I know you won't want to predict it as you're involved, so just try and enjoy it as best as you can, Jens.
Thanks, mate.
We kick off, and Hull's coming forward quickly, trying to take an early lead, but it looks like Dragons have weathered that particular storm. Moving towards 20 minutes already, and it's slightly more. We're starting to see Moriente's name a bit more, so it's looking slightly more even. Yellow card for Lucio there. I have noticed we're not seeing some of the more infamous referees' names so much this year. Certainly some newer names popping up for those like Alpha who are interested in that kind of thing. And we already get to half-time. Fairly even game, Jens, but still very winnable from this perspective.
Yeah, it's equal. It's a draw so far, and I'd take that point. So I'm not too unhappy with that.
Well, I will look at the home side first to give. I'm guessing Carl will be making any subs, as I've not seen Jamie's name pop up in the chat, so I'll let him have a quick look at his stats first. He has pointed out already that that's as many shots on target as we've had in the last 2 games, which I know has been a particular concern of Jamie's. Looking at those individual player ratings and the way the game's played out, is there anything of particular concern from your perspective?
It's always a concern when I play, mate. That's just how it is. There's enough quality players there to win the game, as it is when you play every team in the Super League, to be honest.
Just give me 1 second, because I know that offsides is something that they've been particularly worried about. So as he's asked, I will very quickly click on the second screen for him. As for yourself, Jens, let's click over while they decide what changes they want to make. Costanzo rating an 8 at half-time, as is Campbell. I mean, I know you were very frustrated and at times upset by the performance of your team as a whole last year, but Sol Campbell has arguably been the best player of your whole time, hasn't he? I mean, look at those average ratings season on season.
Yeah, he's been quality. The problem hasn't been him. The problem has been
everyone else.
Yeah, just give him the protection so we don't concede too many goals. Last season, Milevski outplayed him. He's been fantastic ever since I brought him in from Bostock, and he started this season well as well. But yeah, he's been a key player for me. I don't think I'm going to make any subs here, to be honest.
No, that's absolutely fine. Just waiting for Smuts to confirm if they are making any changes then. And he's obviously going to take his time and ask an obscene amount of questions. Evening, Swan. Yes, welcome. You've joined us at half-time of the last game. It has... there you go. I mean, what do you think he's watching? Swamp? That's a damn thing to do. I'm already clicking on more than he's ever had before. You're watching the wrong competition for this kind of information, Smuts. Come on. Yes, it has been a very entertaining evening, both on and off the pitch.
He asked to see if Morientes was injured, and he was potentially injured, and then he decides to make a sub for another player.
Yes, indeed, exactly. There you go. There, Van der Vaart coming on for Zidane, who got his traditional 6 rating. It must concern you seeing Zidane go off the pitch, knowing that he's just not very good in the Super League, and Van der Vaart can be considered.
Zidane's a big name, though. Can always do something.
And Dragons take the lead almost straight from kickoff. It is Patrick Kluivert who gives the home side the advantage. And Dragons looking to dominate a bit of possession here, but here come Halls again. Can they equalise? So we reach the hour mark, and then 10 minutes goes by with nothing happening, but Halls do equalise. And it's Vogel, the man we spoke about before the game, on 72. And now we move into the final 10 minutes. Will we get drama at the end of another show? Here come Dragons. Cole finding Emerton, and Van der Vaart has scored. Oh, but it's been disallowed. The linesman's got his flag up. Kluivert was offside. And here they come again looking for a second goal. And Morientes is offside this time. 3 minutes to be added on. Will we see a Halls attack in injury time? Here they come. It's Crespo, Panucci. Hersey picks it up. He skips past Emerton. And Gattuso. He looks certain to score and he doesn't. And there's the final whistle.
Oh my God.
Dragons have a goal disallowed. Halls have a look certain to score and he doesn't. And the game finishes 1-1. And the stats show that that's probably a fair result, Jens.
Yeah, I'm happy with that, to be honest. If I can keep win at home and keep drawing it away from home, then we're going to do well.
Well, let's start with your team then. You had to come from behind. We mentioned Sol Campbell at half-time. He picks up the Man of the Match award. Had to come from behind. You did so, as you said. And as we alluded to earlier, drawing away is okay as long as you're winning at home. Not an awful performance by any stretch of the imagination. Seeing a few slightly lower than expected conditions from some of your players, particularly Gerard on 67. Do you reckon he just worked tirelessly, or potentially he might have a slight knock to worry about?
The conditions are a little bit low. A little concerned about that. Also a little concerned about Brozic. He didn't have the best start of the season. If I'm gonna do well this season, then I'm gonna need him to. I mean, his season for Brozic should be really good, so I'm gonna need him to deliver more than he's done the first 3 games. But I mean, the stats are equal away from home. We're still unbeaten. We won the home game we had. We didn't lose the 2 away games we had, so it's a decent start.
And
I'm not going to complain.
let's have a look at your hosts then. Van der Vaart came on and did make a bit of an impact. He rated a 7 for his 45 minutes. We discussed Dragons going for front two. Morientes only rating a 6, so perhaps not the best outing for the duo, but it was their first game together. Cliver, on the other hand, he was much more the dominant one in the pairing. And you know, some considering the issues Dragons have had so far this season, seeing Balmer again getting an 8 as expected, Gattuso putting in a dependable performance. Uliano there with his 11, again looking at tackle stats, 11 attempted, 10-1, 6 key tackles. There's certainly some shoots of progress for them, isn't there?
Yeah, I think, and look, Dragons are going to take a lot of points this season. Even though they didn't have a point before now, then they still got a really good squad. There's a lot of good players in there. It's not going to be easy for anyone to go to the Dragons and take 3 points. So I'm not really concerned about that draw, to be honest.
So that concludes the events of the evening. There are the classified results, and the first thing that I didn't realise during live action, Jens, not one home win.
No, yeah, that's surprising.
So we got Astor 1, Churchtown 1, Dragons 1, Halls 1, Dudley 2, Devils 3. That should have been a home win. Gazelles 0, Foolchester 1, Haggis 1, Burn 1, Leddersford 0, Bostock Stanley 1, and Loco 2, Spartak 3. Again, a very entertaining. We've had quite a, I don't know if it's just me, but it seems to have been a very entertaining opening 3 rounds of the season, Jens. And that leaves the table looking like this. Northern Burn, the only undefeated, oh no, not the only undefeated side, I tell a lie. They're one of only 3 undefeated sides alongside yourselves and Astor. They sit top on 7 points. Foolchester, Devils and Bostock with 6. Then Astor and yourselves on 5. Then a group of teams on 4 points. Dudley and Leddersford on 3. Dragons on 1. And Locomotive still rock bottom, pointless. It's obviously a long way to go, Jens, but in a nice position a couple of games in.
Yeah, I think. Listen, I think this teams are closer to each other than what most people would like to say. I think Burn is the only team that is really, you can see it's got more potential than everyone else. But I think it's going to be tight, and I think I've done well in the start. As I said, if you don't lose your away games and you win your home games, then you're in with a chance. I don't know who I play next, but yeah, let's see what happens. I'm excited, and it's going to be a very special and interesting season.
Absolutely.
Can we see the fixtures?
We can, yeah. I was just while you were doing your little sum up, I was just scrolling through some of the individual players before I clicked on the fixtures. Jens, don't worry. I'd just like to take the opportunity again to thank you for joining me this evening. I hope you have a wonderful time with the family tomorrow when you meet up. And as I just click on to the next round of fixtures, which are scheduled for Sunday the 2nd of January, back at the normal day and time. I'd just like to say I hope everyone has enjoyed a wonderful festive period. I hope you've enjoyed having a bit of Super League action over the Christmas break as well, and wish you all a very happy new year. As I say, I'll be back on the 2nd, where I am joined by Mr. Duggan of the Gazelles, which means he's got a cracking looking game away at the Devils for us to look forward to, as well as all of these other fixtures. Any final thoughts from you, Jens?
No, it's been interesting, and it's been a pleasure to be here. Thank you, mate. You're doing an amazing job. Just keep going for all us sad poor bastards that needs you to step up.
I am here as long as I am needed, sir. But no, thank you very much for joining me. And again, from everyone at the Super League to managers, assistant managers, and fans alike, wishing you all a very, very happy new year. Until next time, good night.
Good night, mate.